mindcontrolcults.com website, webmaster Dr. Eric Carlstrom. I began this website in the fall of 2016 with the goal of learning as much as possible about global organized stalking and mind control operations and sharing that information with others. As a former university professor and a targeted individual myself since at least about 2004, I have researched these topics both from an academic standpoint as well as from my own direct experience. This website is an outgrowth of my naturalclimatechange.org, 911nwo.com, and San Luis Valley Waterwatch.com websites, and builds upon and/or incorporates information provided in those websites. Having researched these related issues for decades, I can now offer some major conclusions, the chief of which is that through their systematic torture and murder of law-abiding American citizens, the U.S. military intelligence is guilty of committing the highest form of treason imaginable. Indeed, today, the U.S. military wages secret warfare on the people of the world in order to assert full-spectrum dominance over planet Earth and usher in one world government as per UN Agenda 21, or Agenda for the 21st Century, now called Agenda 2030. The U.S. and Israeli governments and their corporate partners now conduct surveillance on everyone, and they secretly deploy high-tech directed energy and neuroweapons against probably many millions of targeted individuals, TIs, worldwide who have been extrajudicially placed on terrorism watch lists and classed as enemies of the state. These people are referred to as the target and it in Joint Publication 360 of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and are denied due process of law, their constitutionally guaranteed civil liberties, and the protection of the innumerable state, federal, and international laws and statutes that prohibit such non-consensual targeting, non-consensual experimentation on civilians. These surveillance, targeting, torture, neutralization, and killing operations are part of the U.S. military's unconventional warfare carried out on behalf of the global financial elite by their minions, the intelligence agencies, governments, militaries, and private security contractors against civilian populations in order to suppress the truth, cover up their own crimes, profit from the human trafficking of TIs, and test their latest neuro and non-lethal weapons. The U.S. military's fourth-generation warfare is a product of the Revolution in Military Affairs, RMA, that occurred in the 1970s, 80s, and 90s. Its major components include information warfare, perception management, military operations other than war, low-intensity conflict, cyber warfare, net-centric warfare, psychological operations, psychopolitical operations, and the use of no-touch torture technologies, including non-lethal directed energy and other neural weapons. These so-called counter-terrorism operations actually constitute terrorism waged against domestic populations. See Mark Emrich's The New World War, Revolutionary Methods for Political Control, 2011, and excerpts from that book on this website. As per the U.S. military's related civil military and net-centric war doctrines, responsibility and culpability for these criminal, unconstitutional operations is divested among many sectors of society, including law enforcement, DHS, DOJ, FBI, local, state, and federal police, private, corporate, contractors, and local businesses, innumerable civilian and vigilante groups, religions, cults, non-governmental organizations, or NGOs, and many universities and medical facilities, etc. Why? Quote, full spectrum dominance, end quote, of everything and everyone. What for? Innumerable statements by global leaders tell us why. James Paul Warburg, son of Paul Warburg, both of the Warburg banking family that co-founded the Federal Reserve, stated on February 17, 1950, before the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, "We shall have world government, whether or not we like it. The question is only whether world government will be achieved by consent or by conquest." Well, the American people never consented to world government. Nonetheless, our nation, world, and Western civilization itself is being conquered incrementally by the international financial elite and their paid minions. Multiple goals and effects of global organized stalking, mind control, electronic torture operations include: number one, massive make-work program. Establishment of a massive make-work program that radically expands the national security enterprise terrorism sector of the economy through A, allocation of billions of federal dollars to watch list and target generally law-abiding citizens through the DHS FBI Fusion Center system. B, human trafficking of TIs as non-consensual human experimentees into military, university, corporate, state, neuroscience, and weapons testing programs. And C, illegal seizure of terminated targets' assets. As revealed in the Iran-Contra scandal of the 1980s, the rogue corporate military intelligence, CIA mafia, networks of the criminal shadow government, the national security enterprise, have also profiteered from international sales of illegal drugs and weapons, the trafficking of sex slaves and children, etc., for many decades. Among many names for this shadow government is Dr. Alfred McCoy's term, covered